What if you could look back on the coronavirus pandemic of 2020 and say, wow, that's the time I finally sat down to write my book? What if you could come out of all of this as a published author? That's what I'm encouraging you to do right now. Now is the time that you're home and staying safe to write your book. Specifically to write your memoir, your life story. Even if you never publish it, writing down your life story is a powerful exercise, and I want to teach you how to have the mindset, mechanics, and motivation to do it. On Monday night, May 4th, 2020, from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time, I'm hosting a workshop sponsored by the Detroit Writing Room virtually. So from the comfort of your home, on the device of your choosing, you can participate in this amazing 2-hour workshop that will teach you everything you need to know to write your memoir. I'm also going to have a special guest, my dear friend Lee Thomas. You may have seen his TED Talk that's had more than 2 million views on YouTube. You may have seen him on Fox 2 News as the entertainment reporter, and you may have seen him as a diversity speaker at the company where you work. He's a really, really amazing person, and he's also a best-selling author. I first met Lee a long time ago when he started working at Fox 2 News in Detroit, where I was a writer. He had just come from New York. I was sitting in an edit bay. He said, "Hi, I'm Lee Thomas." And he flashed this big smile, and I'm like, my father's name was Thomas Lee. So from that moment, it was like a really special connection, and he and I just had this friendship that blossomed over many years. And we've helped each other with different creative endeavors. So when he was writing his book, he's like, "Elizabeth, will you help me?" So he actually wrote a thank you in the book. It says, "Thank you, Elizabeth Atkins, writer of 10 books. I've written 33 books by now, but this was a while ago. Your advice helped me to communicate from the heart, and you are a constant inspiration." So this is his book, became a bestseller. It's published by Momentum Books, and you can buy it online still. You can also visit leethomas.com, leethomas.com, to read more about him. But his book, his memoir, is about how, as a TV journalist in New York City who interviewed movie stars for a living, he was diagnosed with vitiligo. That's a condition that made his skin turn white. So he called his book Turning White, a memoir of change. And he has some really, really poignant stories that are just heart-wrenching about some of the things that he went through. But the bottom line, it's very inspiring because he shares the strength and the power and the inspiration that he drew from this experience to become a global speaker on vitiligo and to help encourage people to stay positive and to adapt and stay strong. In fact, their organization, their motto is Vitiligo Strong. It's pretty cool. So Lee's an amazing, amazing person, one of my favorite people on the planet. So he is going to join us Monday evening in a Q&A to answer your questions about writing a memoir. So the difference between a memoir and an autobiography is an autobiography pretty much tells everything about a person's life. It's auto, meaning self, biography meaning story of the life, so it's a self-written story of life. A memoir selects particular themes from a person's life, and it showcases those themes. I've written a lot of memoirs. As CEO of Two Sisters Writing and Publishing, as a ghostwriter, I have written many memoirs. I'll show you a stack of them. There's a lot. Check this out. Look. Oh my goodness. So I'm super proud of all this work. This is a lot of lives, very accomplished people who've come to us to write their life story. Like, for example, Master Sergeant Cedric King, he was an Army Ranger in Afghanistan when he stepped on an IED and he lost his legs. They were blown off. He almost died, but thanks to medicine and miracles, he was saved, and now he is an inspirational speaker across America. He is a triathlete. You can see him running in a marathon in his blades, and he's also a father and husband, and he's an amazing person. The former chairman of Starbucks, Howard Schultz, wrote the foreword on this book, and he actually wrote this quote up here from Howard Schultz. It says, "Master Sergeant Cedric King represents not only the best of America, but the best of humankind." That quote always gives me chills, and it makes me cry because that is a really powerful thing to say about someone. But that represents the type of people and stories that we write about. So it's really an honor to showcase their stories and bring them to life for the world. So I've also written books for several physicians, including this plastic surgeon, Dr. Thomas Jenna B, who's in San Antonio, Texas, and he's just a very eccentric man, brilliant, board certified, Ivy League educated, the son of immigrants, and just super inspiring, witty, unique spin on plastic surgery. I mean, awesome. And another physician who dropped dead when he was 31, Dr. Herman Williams in Nashville, Tennessee. He has an amazing story about reinventing himself after a catastrophic illness and creating a method called the kindness scale that anybody can use to find more purpose and fulfillment in life. Another memoir, these are all memoirs, another memoir that I wrote is for the first African-American interim president of the American Red Cross, Steve Bullock. He was born a sharecropper's son in North Carolina during segregation, rose to become the president of a global humanitarian organization, the American Red Cross. Outstanding, outstanding story, amazing person, an honor to write the book. I also wrote a memoir for this man. Kenneth Tyson was a quadriplegic who dreamed of owning a record company because he loved Motown. So he created his own version of a record company, lived his dream, and shares all of his wisdom and survival tactics in this amazing book. Sadly, Ken died in 2008, but when you write a memoir, your story lives on forever. I am holding this physical book that represents his life, his story, his inspiration, so it lives forever. That's why I encourage you to write your memoir. It will put your story in your words into the hands of your children, your relatives, your friends, and generations to come forever. That's power. I also wrote a memoir for a man that was known as General Motors' billion-dollar man because he was an executive. At one time, he was the highest ranking African-American in the global automotive industry. And he is so witty. He too was born during segregation in the South and rose to become an extremely powerful and prominent and philanthropic person. He started an art collection at the Detroit Institute of Arts with his wife Maureen. And Maureen and Roy Roberts are just some of the most amazing people you'll meet. And so it was an honor to showcase his story. I loved writing this book because I got to recreate the scenes of the past that his father experienced as an entrepreneur in the South during segregation, which was very dangerous. And it's just an honor. You know you did a good job when someone comes up to you and says, "I'm so mad at you. I stayed up all night reading this book because I couldn't stop and I had to go to work in the morning." So that's a big compliment, and I'm grateful for the feedback because I pour my heart and soul into every book that I write, And this is especially an example of that. I also had the honor of writing the memoir of former Detroit Mayor Denis Archer, who is responsible for making Detroit the comeback city of the millennium. He not only was a 2-term mayor for Detroit, but he also was the first person of color to become the president of the American Bar Association, which represents more than 400,000 lawyers across America and the world. So this tells his life story, and it tells all the things that he did to transform the city, and I was extremely honored to have the privilege of penning the story with him. When one of the people I interviewed, who was super intelligent, called this a masterpiece, I almost fell out of my chair because it took 2 years to write this book. I interviewed dozens of people, and to have that affirmation was really touching. So super grateful for that. My sister Catherine and I, 2 sisters writing and publishing, we also publish books that other people wrote, memoirs especially, and that includes our mother, Judge Marilyn Atkins. She wrote The Triumph of Rosemary, a memoir. She wrote it herself. So we have all these structures and, formulas for writing, and she just sat down, and it was December of 2016, and by May of 2017, she was done. She just sat down, and for months on end, she wrote, and she finished the book. She didn't have any experience as a writer, but she poured it all out. So I'm going to be doing a special video to talk about our mother, and how Catherine and I are 2 sisters writing and publishing our own books and our mother's book, which is pretty unique. We know of no other such mother and 2 daughters team of writers and publishers. So super cool. And very importantly, I wrote my own memoir. It's called God's Answer is No: Lessons from a Spiritual Life. It is spiritual, not religious, and it talks about my spiritual awakening and how that helped me overcome some major challenges with food and fat, bulimia, depression, suicidal thoughts, overcoming a terrible divorce to find forgiveness and harmony, challenges with my own identity, and things that I have overcome, healed, forgiven, and released. So I share that because it's empowering information. When you write your memoir and you describe with great courage what you've overcome, challenges, painful things, traumas, you empower other people to have the strength to get through whatever you got through. It really does help people. So a lot of things that I shared in this book, especially sort of outing my spirituality in ways that I had never talked about before, it emboldened other people to talk about their spiritual beliefs and talk about things that they had never really shared with others. When you write your book, when you write your memoir, you help other people find their power, because guess what? Writing a book is scary. Writing a book is hard. Writing a book is overwhelming and confusing. And especially if you're sharing information that you've never exposed before, writing a book can be very scary. And when that fear strikes during the writing process and you say, oh my gosh, I don't want to share this with anybody, you stop writing. Well, in my workshop Monday evening, I am going to teach you how to overcome those fears and think about all the positive things that can come out of writing your book. I actually have one book client that never intends to publish their book. It's going to be a gift upon his death to share with his children and grandchildren. The media has told his story one way, and this is his way of telling his story in his words for his family to cherish forever. So you can sign up to attend the workshop from the comfort of your device in your home Monday evening, May 4th from 6 to 8 p.m., hosted by the Detroit Writing Room. So all you have to do is go to DetroitWritingRoom.com, go to the events page, and you'll see this. Click on it on Eventbrite, sign up and I will see you on Monday. So get ready to write and get ready to ask questions of me as well as my special guest and dear friend, Lee Thomas, the best-selling author, TV personality, entertainment reporter on Fox 2 News, and host of Critically Speaking, which is about movies because he reviews movies, and celebrated TED Talk speaker with more than 2 million views on YouTube, and a certified diversity professional who does diversity speaking in companies and conferences. So please join us for an amazing experience that will inspire you and arm you with everything you need to know to finally write that memoir in a way that's going to impact people's lives in a positive way, and very importantly, make you feel fulfilled and excited and grateful that you finally wrote down your story. Oh wait, I forgot to tell you one more thing about writing your memoir. When you sit down to reflect on the life that you've lived from birth to now, it's a really, really therapeutic experience, and it helps you reflect on what you've accomplished, what you've overcome, how strong you are, how persistent you are, how brave you are. It also helps you identify what you've not yet accomplished in your life or what habits might be holding you back, so that you can look forward to the next part of your life and decide, okay, I need to finally do this. I need to go back and get my master's degree, or open that business, or find the perfect mate, have a baby, move to a new town. Whatever it is that you've not yet accomplished and achieved and experienced, your memoir helps you realize it and plan to make it happen. You can actually write multiple memoirs in a lifetime. Maya Angelou wrote several. One of our clients who's in his 80s said, I want to recommend to everybody to write their memoir earlier in life so that you actually have time to achieve the things you realize you've not done yet. Don't wait till you're 85 or older to write your book. Do it early and then write another memoir later after you've achieved all those wonderful things on your list. So now is the time to write that memoir. Hashtag quarantine and write, and get it done. In my state, we have several more weeks of staying home. And even when things open back up, people I know are not eager to go back out in public. So use this time to write. Writing is therapeutic, writing is fun, writing is fulfilling, and you have time. Time, or a lack of time, was one of the biggest excuses that we all used before the pandemic to say, I don't have time to write, I don't have time, I'm too busy. Well, now many of us are home. I already work at home as a writer, and I'm used to long periods of solitude as I'm writing, and I love it. But for those of you who are home from an office job or some other job that took you out of the house and now you're home, utilize this time and energy and solitude and silence and stillness to write. Just take out a notebook and make it happen, or use a computer file. And I'm going to teach you how to structure your time, overcome any mental blocks, and just get it done. So I will see you Monday evening on your computer screen, on your phone, on your device. And we are gonna rock and roll so you can come out of this whole experience with your written and published book. I'll see you Monday. Can't wait to meet you and help you finally write your memoir.